All right, it's actually been a really long time since I've done an audio journal like this, a reflection episode for Luucidity, I'd say. I mean, Luucidity is the main name of the podcast, so it's the main thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's more like a reflect day or a reflect session, and we haven't done one of these in a while in terms of daily reflections or doing it on the day versus reflecting on my whole life. So we're out for a early morning walk, and we decided to just reflect on recent events. Honestly, I've actually been missing this quite a bit. I feel like having it is actually really good. It serves its purpose, the original purpose of like keeping me lucid and keeping me in check. I think even with all the other habits going on, like the no entertainment challenge, which is basically a habit at this point, I'm on day 50. So in 52 days, I had 2 days where I took a 2-day break. But from here on, I'm going to treat it sort of like Duolingo almost. It's like every time I miss a day, it just counts as a freeze, and then I just continue the streak afterwards. And I'll keep track of how many break days there are. So right now, a streak of 50 and a break of 2 days, so 52 days in total. For Japanese, it's been pretty good as well. We've studied for it's day 18. We actually missed yesterday. We've been on a good streak for a while, but yesterday we had a lot going on and we caught up with a friend we haven't seen in a long time. Not that long, maybe like 2 months, but she's one of my favorite friends to hang out with, and I got to just catch up with her and really, I don't know, every time I catch up with her and talk with her, I feel like I'm learning things. There's a lot of insightful, random things that I learned from our conversations. One of the things was that mindset can really affect the way you perform. And this is a very obvious thing, but the story that she told was very telling of how much it can actually affect you. And it made me think about how it was affecting me in my life. Like, for instance, the primary thing that came up is like YouTube, and thinking about how difficult it is to actually grow it into something that's viable for income and everything, and how that difficulty sort of makes me feel like I can't do it in a way. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what if I were to just tell myself that I can do it, just do it, just do the thing, don't worry about how difficult it is or whether or not I can or cannot do it, just try. And that's basically what I'm going to do. I am going to try. But in the attempt, right, if you have those doubts and you have that mindset of like, I don't think I can do it, there's definitely going to be a difference in the results, a difference in how you approach things and what you do. And I think I feel or understand that difference, and I have to make sure I don't let it actually make my videos worse, make my creation process worse than it is, and actually really try to create videos that I think will do really well. I think for now, though, like practicing and doing the things for YouTube is not exactly the highest priority in my head. Like, obviously I'm going to try, but I still really want playing by ear. That's been going well overall, like 77 days. And I just feel like there's so much more that I need to do. Like right now I'm breaking down a YOASOBI song, Gunjo, and it's very difficult to like have it fully broken down in my head and be able to understand everything I hear as it comes. But I think it's a good exercise, and I think it's something we haven't like fully done yet. Despite having practiced playing by ear stuff for 77 days, we've practiced a lot of new songs and recognizing the melody and stuff and playing it on the piano. But like when I listen to it, I can't instantly recall what each note is. It's more like I memorized it after taking time to recall the notes or recognize the notes. And based on memory, I know what they are from there, instead of actually being able to constantly listen and know and recognize and feel the pitch. So that's a process that we need to continue and focus on. I feel like that's more important to me. Like obtaining that skill is one of the most important things to me. I feel like despite how difficult it is, I really want it. And I think for this one, I do believe that I can get it. But yeah, I think for this one, I don't have like a mental barrier. It's more so it's just very difficult. And I'm just like trying, and perhaps I lack structure is the number one thing. Like despite having done a lot of research on it and watching certain like online structured courses on it, it still feels elusive somehow. But perhaps I'm not putting in enough time or enough practice to improve faster. probably the number one thing. But whenever I do it, I feel like whenever I practice in general, even if it's for 45 minutes, which is what I have done, average of 45 minutes for the past 70 or so days, 77, we feel really tired afterwards and we need like a nap. Either way, I feel like today we woke up in a slightly different way. We woke up naturally, not with the alarm. We didn't hit the snooze button, despite the fact that we've been on a different challenge, which is like trying to achieve perfect sleep. I'm trying to figure out like how many hours I need, trying to figure out like what time of the day I should be sleeping. I try my best not to sleep before 11. No, I try my best to sleep before 11:30 and sleep for about 8 hours. And so far it's been pretty successful, I'd say. I've done it for about 12 days now. But oddly, I feel like when I started doing that, I got some of the worst sleep I've gotten in a while. And it hardly makes sense to me, but that's what happened. Like, my body didn't feel as rested. My brain felt more fatigued when I woke up. But yesterday, after we hung out with our friend, we basically broke that rule. It was the first day where it went past 11:30 before we were in bed. It was about 11:45, so it wasn't that bad of a break. But, I didn't sweat it. I didn't really care too much, to be honest. Again, it wasn't like that much later, so that's probably why. But I feel like I just had significantly better sleep, actually. Like, having broken the perfect sleep sort of challenge and also having missed Japanese, I feel like my brain was able to recover a bit more because it didn't have that extra stress from all the other things. And perhaps because I also had a really, really nice and good time with my friend and laughed a lot and just talked a lot and everything. But anyways, yeah, the full circle back to my friend. I'm glad that we talked and that I got to really, really have fun and stuff. We talked for about 3 hours and I feel like we could have easily gone way more. She was also telling me things because I told her about the challenge program that I want to create. And she was telling me how she feels like there are certain people who, could benefit from it, but there might be some where it's very difficult for them to benefit because it's very discipline based. And this is something another friend of mine recently told me as well. They feel like it's going to require a lot of discipline to actually follow through with everything, which, it's true. You have to have some level of discipline if you want to follow a course to the end. But I suppose my course is a course that helps with that. It's supposed to be the thing that teaches you how to approach actually going through a course, say a 30-day course or just a challenge in general where you're doing something every day for the purpose of change, for the purpose of creating a habit, doing a project, getting rid of a habit, something like that. So it's supposed to help with making that an easier process and explaining things in a way from my own mistakes. I've learned so much from everything that I've been doing recently that I really, really do feel like it will help. I think no matter what, I do want to create it. I think it's something I really want to try, even if it fails, even if it's not something that succeeds. I think going through the process of trying to create something I believe in and enjoy and see as my dream job, I want to try. And I'm going to put in everything I got for it. But having woken up this, where I'm in a very, very lucid state, I also was having dreams of adventures and random stuff and playing games with my cousins, and we were in the game and it was really fun. So that made me think about the book that I want to write, the fantasy book that I've been brainstorming for over a year now. I haven't really had a chance to put pen to paper, I guess. Actually, I did try to write a chapter at a certain point, but it was very poorly written. I'm not a fantasy fiction writer, despite the fact that I want to write a fantasy fiction novel. But I will work my way there, because this is something I really want to create. And that's the first tangible story that I see in my head, and I feel like the world I'm creating is interesting enough, and the story and the plot and all of it gets me excited and more interested to break it down more. So that's where my head was at in the morning. I was just thinking about my story and elements from my story and what I can do to evolve that story and keep going with it. So I think that's going to be a challenge coming up soon, to actually start writing, because I'm feeling it, and I think that's a good sign. I think it might be, this is the issue with stacking things and putting things ahead of time on the stack of things to do for challenges. The primary issue with it is that when you get into the mood of like wanting to do something else, there's no room for it. But the other projects are also things that I really want to get done as well. So it's not as if I'm doing things I don't want to do. It's just there's too many things I want to do, which is why a part of me before going on my Japan adventure was a little reluctant and worried about going there and staying there for too long, is because it's like a break from doing the things I want. But honestly, before that, I wasn't even that efficient with doing things. Now, with these challenges and everything, I feel like a world of a difference. I feel like we're making strides in my progress rather than being super slow. But at the same time, it's kind of just a feeling, because these days I have been feeling a little slow, as in like, despite the fact that I'm not watching entertainment stuff, I still take like a lot of naps due to like right after practicing Japanese, and then right after practicing piano, and then right after doing work as well. So my brain is just very, very tired. And doing video work and getting back into editing a lot as well, it's been a challenge. Yeah, I guess I consider myself a bit lucky that freelance work has been slow recently, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. But it's kind of ironic that after I reach like level 2 seller on Fiverr for voiceover stuff, I haven't got as many voiceover jobs compared to the other months so far. Like the past 2 weeks have been dry versus like maybe 2 months ago, I was getting like big orders. So that's kind of unfortunate in a way. I kind of enjoy it and miss it, but I suppose it does leave room for me to do other things that are important. But if I'm to be honest, like completely honest with myself, I feel like the past week or so, like despite it being more efficient, more like productive towards like things like Japanese, or, you know, I finally released the end of Dreamlit, that video where I'm changing the name of my main YouTube channel. Like despite all of it, making some progress, like I still feel like I'm slow. I still feel like I'm distracted in some ways, like that I'm not fully lucid. Like right now, this moment, I feel fully lucid, like 100%. And I think this is where I need to be like most of the time. Like not all of the time, but at least most of the time. And I say not all of the time because I feel like perhaps I'm not capable of being like this 100% of the time, which is ironic. I feel like it's another mental barrier, and I'm trying to recognize them as they come now. Like why not 100% of the time? Like does it feel tiring? Not necessarily. I don't think this feels tiring. I think this feels right. I think this was the whole point I started this lucidity thing in the first place. And I think I've been feeling a little rushed, you know, like with doing even the life reflection, I feel like I'm not quite fully there when I do it. I just view it as a task that I have to accomplish in that day. Similar to the Japanese learning, it's like I view it as a task that I have to accomplish, like a habit that I have to check off, rather than actually like having a burning passion or desire to learn the Japanese. The only one that I do feel like I have a very, very strong desire for is the music stuff, is the learning relative pitch and mastering it. But I feel like I'm also somewhat struggling to bring myself to practice because like it feels so slow. It feels like so difficult, but I'm not approaching it with fresh eyes or with a flame, with passion, with the spirit of wanting it and wanting to learn and being ready to learn. And I think that's a mistake. I think that's the thing that's slowing me down, is the lack of spirit, the lack of true drive. Like I'm showing up to do the thing, and that's good. That's a really, really, really great step to have down, you know? Like that is the first step, right? You have to like make it consistent. But after you make it consistent, like that's when you start really optimizing it, right? And I don't think I have things optimized, despite the fact that I remember having like a lucidity session where I was like, yeah, I feel like we have things optimized now. But and maybe system-wise, there are things that are optimized. Like I feel like I finally discovered a good way to use ChatGPT to learn. And for music, a complete breakdown of a song just seems like something I should be doing. But I guess I still have some hesitancy about whether or not it's the right thing to do. But I feel like I don't need to worry about that. I feel like no matter what my approach is, as long as I'm looking towards the goal and working on a skill, a subset of skills that get me there, the method in itself, as long as it isn't terribly inefficient or bad, shouldn't be that worrisome. Like I shouldn't be putting so much mental effort into the optimization process, despite the fact that I literally just said that the next step is optimization, but I feel like I've already somewhat done that. Like I've done the research, I've looked things up. I know certain practices, like I just got to do it. I just got to like do it with passion. Like I think that's the third step. It's like after you have discovered the method, or methods, whatever they might be, like just perform with passion, perform with desire, like put your heart in it, show some spirit basically. And recently I've just been feeling like that's not what I've been doing. It's just putting in the reps, and that's good. Again, it is good, but I'm beyond that now. It's beyond the reps now. It's like I need to put in more than the reps. I need to put in solid, good reps, like really, really passion-filled reps. So lucidity, 100% of the time, to me, right now, is my conclusion to my answer, I guess, to the problem I'm facing. Like, how do I achieve that? How do I achieve passion-filled reps where I'm just doing things with the utmost effort, with spirit? And that is to be fully here, fully present, fully like this, like not distracted, not worried about things that I feel like I shouldn't be worried about. And part of me thinks it's because I'm trying to do too much at once, but I don't really think that's the issue. I think I can achieve more than I'm giving myself credit for. I think a part of my mind has been holding myself back, and my friend helped me realize that a little bit yesterday without necessarily intending on it. But there's a lot to do, and we're gonna get it done. I know we've been talking a little bit ambiguously, not ambiguously, but like a little bit in the broad sense of the bigger picture and everything. And that's good. It's a good reflection because recently we haven't done that. I feel like it would be weird to continue these as days, right? I think we left off, day 33, 34, something like that. And to me, when we started these life lessons, life reflection chapters, that's something I feel like we should probably continue until the end. And then we can attach this as, I don't know, I'm debating. Should I just put in random reflect sessions just so I can at least give a date for them? Because I'm going to assume that I'm going to use this podcast for more than just reflect sessions in the future, just like how I'm doing with the life reflections. Like everything to become lucid, right? Everything to become like fully here and present, as well as like capable of recalling the past and knowing everything about myself, understanding myself, having processed everything. Like that's a theme of this podcast that I've sort of forgotten in a way while doing the life reflection. I've been doing way too much like recalling of events rather than really, really reflecting and processing. So I think it does make sense to put this smack dab in the middle of my life reflection stuff. And what's the most general reflection possible? I guess I'll just call it reflect. Reflect number 1. The first 30-something episodes were dedicated to me trying to get to a point where I was in more of a lucid state. And I'd say today I feel like I'm in that. I'm in like my goal. Like I've reached it, but I know it's a state that requires constant maintenance and that is easily slipped out of. But it's good to have a benchmark, and maybe I can go beyond. Maybe there's a lot that I'm missing as well. But right now I feel so connected with myself and like everything. It feels distinctly different. It might help that it's the morning as well and I took a nice walk, but just everything around it, right? Talking to my friend, waking up like on time despite the fact that I slept later, and yeah, there's a lot. And just not touching my phone in the morning, that was a big one as well. We need to continue that because despite not watching entertainment media, I still occasionally like look at messages or read emails. Sometimes I just do some research on things I'm curious about. Like I have a random question that pops up in my head and I'm just like, yeah, what is that, So I look it up on Google. It's still a distraction and If I really, really need it, then fine, But if I don't, let it go. Like, if it's not something that's significant, it's just going to distract me from what I need to accomplish. And what I need to accomplish is important to me. But yeah, like I said, I miss this. This is honestly becoming a keystone habit, something that feels like a necessary step to being able to do everything else with like greater effort and more spirit. Like lately I've been thinking about that missing piece because I've been feeling off. And it's probably this. It's the fact that this allows me to think about everything I'm doing as well as plan for the future and set intentions and everything. And that's what I should do as the final thing. Today, we're gonna do everything with greater passion. We're gonna practice the piano, do our play-by-ear stuff, learn Japanese, work on the next video for the main channel, and we'll also do the life reflection with far greater clarity. Oh yeah, and the final thing is exercise, kinetic. I feel like I've been slipping recently. Actually, I achieved 19 pull-ups in a row, which is a new record for sure. I was very, very close to 20, which is my goal. And I'm proud of myself for having reached it. Kind of surprised that I can do 19 in a row now. It doesn't feel that way. But we can, and we have. But I still feel like we're taking a lot of breaks in between days now, which is not bad for my body, but it doesn't feel as good as just continuously doing the push-ups and pull-ups every day. So part of me feels like I should just do it more often because I feel like my body is capable of it, especially when I told it that it can do it despite having such tough days during my challenges. But now that I'm doing a different challenge, I guess, it's exercise for 30 minutes a day for 5 days in a week. I really do think the 5 days thing is kind of not great. Doing it every day is a better system in my opinion. Yep, I still haven't changed it. I feel like I should. I guess I'm trying to do the recommended thing, but the recommended thing is just slowing me down. Anyways, we'll figure this out off of this recording and report back at a certain point. But I feel like I have greater clarity with the steps, right? Step 1, gain consistency. Step 2, optimize. Step 3, practice with passion or perform with passion. And I think that's kind of the 3 steps you need to really get to the place you want to be. We'll see. We're not at the place yet, but I think now more than ever, I feel like I can get to it. So let's get to it.